Select OK.
All right.
We are recording in 3, 2, 1. Oh, you're the bowling alley lawyer.
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm also a pediatrician, nurse, doctor, whatever you need.
I am a lawyer. I own a bowling alley. Two separate things.
What about the pediatrician part?
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is another special Just Nerdery episode. Today, we're going to talk about Ed. Uh, Today, we have our special guest again, K3. Yay! Give it up for Kimothy. Yay! Today we're talking about Ed. Ed is an American comedy drama television series that was co-produced by David Letterman's Worldwide Pants Incorporated, NBC Productions, and Viacom Productions. It aired on NBC from October 8th, 2000 to February 6th, 2004. The hour-long comedy drama starred Tom Cavanaugh as Ed Stevens, Julie Bowen as his love interest, Carol Vesey, Josh Randall as his friend, Dr. Mike Burton, Jana Marie Hupp as Mike's wife, Nancy, Leslie Boone as their friend, Molly Hudson, and Justin Long as awkward high school student, Warren Cheswick. Other supporting cast members included Michael Gendari and Jennifer Goodwin as Warren's friends, Mark and Diane, and Michael Ian Black, Mike Starr, and Rachel Cronin, and later Daryl Mitchell as the employees of Ed's Bowling Alley. Long-term guest stars included John Slattery as Dennis Martino and Sabrina Lloyd as Frankie Hector. The show was created by executive producers John Beckerman and Rob Burnett. David Letterman is also credited as one of the show's creators. So, yeah, it's one of those ones that kind of slipped under the radar and everybody kind of slept on. It received casting, writing, and directing Emmy Award nominations in 2001. Tom Cavanaugh received a Golden Globe Award nomination and a TV Guide Award for his work on the program. Everybody who did this went on to really, really big careers after this. This is just kind of one of those little sleeper hits. You've seen it. What do you think about Ed?
I haven't seen much, but I think it's all right.
Just all right? You don't think it's crazy?
Honestly, the objectivity of crazy, it's hard to quantify.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Um, so just to give a background on the show itself, it revolves around Ed Stevens, a hotshot New York lawyer who, on the same day he is fired from his job, um, comes home to discover his wife having an affair with a mailman that she met at Starbucks. Dejected, Ed decides to return to his hometown of Stuckeyville, Ohio, to spend some time. Upon his arrival, he is reunited with friends that he has missed, as well as Carol Vesey, his high school crush. Determined to win her heart, Ed decides to stay, buying a rundown bowling alley and setting up a new law firm in the process, earning him the undesired nickname, the Bowling Alley Lawyer, which leads him to make a distinction to a judge during his first trial. I am a lawyer. I own a bowling alley. Two separate things.
Fair enough, fair enough, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Okay. So in the opening, he's not a trial lawyer. He's a contract lawyer. So he's been working on this contract, working like 80, 90 hours a week, right? He turns this contract in and he submits it to everybody, goes home, comes back the next morning, and they're like, Ed, you misplaced a comma in this. He's like, oh, okay. Well, and he realizes he misplaced a comma. So he comes, I take full responsibility for that. I'll go back and fix it. His bosses tell him, that comma cost this firm $1.6 million. You're, you're fired, Ed. It's at this point he goes home early, and that's when he sees his wife having an affair with a handsome mailman. Ed then leaves and decides to go home to Stuckeyville, Ohio for a little while. He's been making decent money, but when he goes back to Stuckeyville, you realize that he was kind of this. Well, I don't want to say loner because he and Mike were together all the time. His best friend Mike, who is now a doctor in the town of Stuckeyville, Ohio. Um, Mike and his wife just had a little baby, and Mike's wife is really having trouble going back to work. Um, she works at the school. Um, Mike uh, is under the thumb of this town's local doctor, who's the town doctor, and he treats Mike like crap. Always asking, why is your wife here? How come you're 1 or 2 minutes late? Um, all kinds of crazy stuff. It's like, dude, he's just he he's just trying to get, he just had a baby. It's awful. So Ed comes back into this, and he stays with the family while he's there, and that's when he decides that he's going to live in Stuckeyville. When he was a kid, and even up through college until he went to law school, he worked at the bowling alley, right? So the first week he's there, he goes to, there's all this stuff going on at the bowling alley. It's kind of crazy. And then everybody, it's a bowling alley tournament. They only have this one tournament once a year. He goes back in a few days later, and the bowling alley is ostensibly closed. One of the employees of the bowling alley is living on the far left lane. Are you still?
Well, you know what they say, if you love what you do, is it really a job?
That is exactly what he says. That's yeah.
I
is
just
exactly
guessed
what
that,
Phil
I'll be
says.
honest.
Yeah. Phil, played by Michael Ian Black, played perfectly by Michael Ian Black, hatches these ludicrous schemes, usually to gain fame and fortune. Just all kinds of crazy stuff, and he's always trying. He's the one that gets Ed to start practicing law again, because Ed buys the bowling alley because he's going to make the bowling alley work, because he realizes that was the only time he was really happy in his life. So he's opening the bowling alley, and he's going to get the bowling alley up and running. He knows that people love it because, for a weekend a year, everybody's there. So he's going to try to get them in. Phil decides to put out flyers that say, for every game, you get free legal advice from the New York City lawyer, Ed.
Well, honestly,
he gets a line
if
of
you're
people.
in some legal trouble and you're going to bowling alley to work away your troubles, two birds in one stone.
That's right. So these people come in and they ask for free legal advice, and like they'll come up and and Phil will grab their scorecard and go bowl a couple more frames. You haven't completed this. You need to bowl one full game. It's ridiculous. Ed starts talking to these people, and they convince him that he needs to start practicing. He becomes basically champion of the little guy, right?
Right.
Starts running this law office out of this bowling alley, which he owns. He bought, because he still had some cash from his New York City law job, and he's not paying rent on a high-priced New York penthouse anymore that his wife made him buy. He can now spend it on this bowling alley, which is what he's doing. And then he becomes a lawyer, and he starts making money as a lawyer and making money at the bowling alley. The bowling alley starts doing a lot better. All of this is going on while his friend Mike is dealing with this evil doctor. He's not really evil. He's just an a-hole. And Mike's wife, Nancy, is having a heck of a time with separation anxiety. Also, their friend Molly Hudson, who's dealing with some body issues, is trying to be more assertive. And then he sees Carol Vesey, and Carol Vesey was the cheerleader when they graduated from high school in like 1985. I want to say it's like 84 or 85, because this takes place like 17, 18 years later. It starts in 2000. he's enamored with this Carol Vesey, and she really likes him too, but she doesn't trust men because she's always made bad choices. Well, Ed's always been kind of in love with her, but he could never talk to her. Like, she doesn't know who he is, even though they had like 5 classes together every year for 4 years. Um, and then there's this kid who's also in love with her named Warren Cheswick, played by Justin Long, and he does such a great job as this verbal diarrhea nerd. Like, he refers to her as my lady. You know, he's just such a dork. Ed kind of takes Warren under his wing and kind of teaches him how to be nerdy and still function in the world. Warren has these good friends, Mark and Diane, who kind of remind Ed also of his best friends, Molly and Mike. So he kind of tries to help them out too with knowledge, because he learned a lot from this crushing defeat he had. Mike and Ed also take these $10 bets where it's like, I bet you $10 you don't take your shirt off and dance around the bar. I bet you $10 you don't try to roll down that hill in a tire. I'll bet you $10 you don't drink this.
So eventually it becomes basically a no balls situation.
It is a no balls situation. Had to drink a whole bottle of syrup. Also, for some reason, in this town of Stuckeyville, Arbor Day is a huge holiday. Various characters are named Godfrey for some reason. In many episodes, they never mention it. Just apparently in Stuckeyville, Ohio, Godfrey is a big is a common name.
I guess they really like Gilbert Godfrey, huh?
Yeah, could be. So Tom Cavanaugh plays Ed Stevens, a lawyer who worked for a prestigious law firm in New York City, and he loses his job for drafting a contract with a misplaced comma. That's when he goes home. The thing is, Ed was a contract lawyer. He had never represented anybody in court. But he ends up representing a lot of the townspeople. He attempts to win Carol Vesey for 4 years, and while she's in love with him, she can't believe that good men like Ed exist. Ed is a compassionate and caring man and often takes cases where he represents the underdog. He sometimes finds himself working with people he disagrees with, but he still treats all of his clients with fairness. He also believes that the law, common sense, and moderation need not be mutually exclusive. The premise of the show hinges on Ed's changes in life, and he initially returns to Stuckeyville just to reset. They did film a pilot, which you will never see. The pilot contains some notable casting choices. Donald Logue played Phil, and Janine Garofalo starred as Ed's ex-wife, Liz. Michael Ian Black replaces Logue as Phil, and they reshot some of the scenes from the first episode. Leah Thompson played a character in several episodes near the end of the series as well. But they reshot all the scenes in Stuckeyville, and they just used them for the opening 10 minutes of the first episode. So you'll never see Donald Logue as Phil. The show is set in Stuckeyville, Ohio, but most of the series was actually shot in various towns in northern New Jersey: Montclair, Hillside, Haworth, Westfield, Cranford, Nutley, Ridgewood, Harrington Park, Allendale, Northvale, Demarest, and Rockland County, New York, and Tappan and Nyack. Many of the street names of towns mentioned on the show are real New Jersey street names and town names. The opening sequence shows Ed driving past the Rialto movie theater in downtown Westfield. Stuckey Bowl was actually the former Country Club Lanes in Northvale, New Jersey, and also served as the show's headquarters. So they actually, the production office was in the bowling alley. Many of the other show's sets were built in a cleared out portion of the bowling alley, such as the interiors of Stuckeyville High School, the courtroom, and the Smiling Goat, which is a bar. Country Club Lanes has since gone out of business. It was completely demolished in late spring of 2006 to make room for new housing. So it's gone. You can't go and visit it.
Ah,
Yeah, the opening credit and theme song and the majority of the show's run was Next Year by the Foo Fighters. But during the entire second season, it was Moments in the Sun by Clem Snide.
how do you
Yeah,
fight a foo?
yeah. Next Year by the Foo Fighters. And
No,
then,
no, no. How do you fight a foo? Because they
well,
claim
okay,
to be a foo fighter,
the Foo
but
Fighters. The Foo Fighters. Sorry.
how do you fight a foo?
Well, a foo is a mystical Japanese creature, so I'm assuming with ninjutsu,
I guess.
shadow clone jutsu. Let's say that.
All right.
So, in a Foo Fighters poster hung on the wall of Stuckeyville High School principal Molly Hudson's office. Molly is a counselor. She eventually becomes principal of the high school. There's a lot of will they and won't they with Ed and Carol. Carol ends up almost marrying a dude who comes in as a teacher. Ed almost gets married to somebody who comes in and works at his law firm. His ex-wife comes back. It's just all this stuff. There's only 83 episodes. The show only ran 4 seasons. 83 episodes, and I believe that includes the pilot, so which I don't think they ever showed. So 82 episodes of this show, and it's just so sweet and goofy and funny. It's got a lot of heart. But it didn't resonate with people. But all these actors are great. They all went on to huge careers. John Slattery, Sabrina Lloyd, Mike Starr. I want to talk about Mike Starr.
Sounds good.
Mike Starr also works in the bowling alley, and Ed kind of makes him the he makes him the sort of the manager of the bowling alley because Ed is having to do too much legal work on the side, which he was not planning to do. Mike Starr turns the bowling alley around. He totally turns the bowling alley around. They start making money. They're doing real good. He has these special nights that bring a lot of people in. You find out that he was a great pediatric nurse. He was a chef, an engineer. He's done all of these amazing things with his life. In the opening of the 3rd season, he bowls a perfect 300 game and promptly leaves Stuckeyville. He has done everything he can. So it appears that this particular person is a wandering kid. He becomes incredible at whatever job he's doing, and then he goes on and does something else. That's how come he has all this backstory. It was written in that way.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, and he's replaced by Daryl Chill Williams, who is a very, very angry man because he got into a car accident, or it's a motorcycle accident, and lost the use of his legs. Daryl Chill Williams, before he made this series, got into a car accident and lost the use of his legs.
Oh, so they actually put what happened to the actor in the story?
The last show he did before that, which ran in the mid to late 90s, was the John Larroquette show. That show wrapped, and shortly after that, he got into a motorcycle. I think it was a motorcycle accident. It may have been a car accident. So could be either way. He was in an accident and became a paraplegic. They brought that into the series. They cast him specifically. Daryl Chill Williams was not going to do any more acting. He was done. The showrunners convinced him to do, or I'm sorry, I said Daryl Chill Williams. His name is Daryl Chill Mitchell. I am so sorry. Daryl Chill Mitchell was going to quit acting, they convinced him to come back and do this show because the character that replaced the Mike Starr character needed to be a polar opposite, because the Mike Starr character was the most agreeable human being in the world. Did not speak much, but whatever. Yeah, I can figure that out. Right?
Right.
He's very angry about what happened to him. So this helped Daryl Mitchell work through some of that. He was amazing in it. Amazing. The show takes I don't want to say a complete right turn, but it just, and you have this sweet, wonderful, kindly thing, but you still have the weird stuff like drinking the bottle of syrup. Teaching Warren Cheswick how to get along in society, how to get out of his own head a little bit, but still be himself. They didn't make him change.
They just made him
where he could get along. They gave him some coping skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, it amazes me how sweet and wonderful the series was. And I didn't watch it at the time because I thought it was associated with a movie that came out a year earlier called Ed TV. I thought it was a television show about Ed TV. It's not. It's completely different. Originally, they were going to call this show Ed, and then they changed it to call it Stuckeyville, and then they went back to calling it Ed. But because it's only 2 letters, they would put like Ed TV in the television listings, right?
Yeah.
So you confused it with the movie that had come out in 1999, 98 or 99, called Ed TV, which was a completely different premise, had nothing to do with this. But if you looked at it in the listings, it looked like it was the same thing. So I slept on this. Your mom years later was like, "Oh, you should watch that. It's really good." And I did.
And you did.
Oh, it was amazing. It
like
was
Twin Peaks.
Like Twin Peaks, yeah. It was amazing. Again, really sweet, really kind, really kind of wonderful, but also really funny and quirky. And this is a town full of weirdos. So yeah, I have put a bunch of episodes on our YouTube playlist, so you can go out and see it. I think everybody should go out and check it out. I'll go ahead and put all that stuff out. I'll try to put out some more episodes, and I'll include this video along with it in our playlist, and it'll show when this video or when our episode airs. I would like to thank K3 for going on this journey with me.
K3.
Yeah, thanks for talking about Ed, man. I know it's not much, but it's one of those things I wanted people to get out there. It's not readily available. Apparently, it was bought out by this streaming service a few years ago called Up, which went under like a year later. So there's still some rights issues, but you can go and watch it on YouTube because I don't think anybody has the rights for it right now. Or if they have the rights for it, they're no longer in business. So it's pretty readily available on YouTube. I'll do as many of the good copies as I can.
Tor. Sorry, what was that?
Huh? What?
Huh?
What?
What? Huh?
Oh, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about either.
Right on. But I do want to thank K3 for coming on. We should be getting back to regular Nerdery and Murdery pretty soon. I was talking to Jeffrey. He's about ready to come back. But if not, we can maybe do some more of these. A couple more anyway. We had a couple of guest stars in the last episode and the episode before. That was really nice. But again, I really like talking about the stuff with Timothy because
yay, Timothy.
We vibe. So, but I'd like to thank all of our patrons for sticking with us. All of our TikTok stuff out there. Go ahead and check out the YouTube playlist. It'll be out before the episode airs, just like everything else. So you should check that stuff out. So you know what we're talking about. If not, I would encourage you to go out and check it out. We'd like to thank our Patreons for sticking with us. There are costs associated with it, with the show, getting it out there. I'd like to thank all of the fans. Please give us a rating whenever you can on TikTok, on Spotify, on Apple, on anything you can find, YouTube, whatever. Just give us an uptake. But with that, I have been Zig with your Just Nerdery.
I've been Kim with your Internery.
Cue the music.
How was that?